Hi everyone, and welcome to the presentation Pinterest for Business. If that's what you are looking for, you're in the right place, and we will get this webinar started here in just a couple of minutes. We've still got a lot of people joining in, so if you need to get a drink of water or run to the restroom or anything like that, this is a great time to do it, and we'll get started here in just another minute or two. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Thank you again for having some patience here. We're going to get started in just 1 minute. This is Pinterest for Business, so if that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place. We've still got quite a few people signing in here, so give me just 1 more minute and we'll get started. Thank you. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for your patience. And just a couple of quick logistics before we start here. I will send you a link to a recording of this presentation, a replay of this presentation. So no need to take intense notes. You can sit back and relax and just enjoy the presentation. Also, if there are any questions, please chat them into the box below this presentation. And I will address as many of them as I'm able to at the end. And if I don't get to your specific question, not to worry, someone from my team or I will personally follow up with you to make sure your question gets answered. Okay, so any questions that you have, please go ahead and chat them in to the box below this presentation. Okay, welcome again, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be talking with you about an exciting new addition to the social media landscape known as Pinterest. And this presentation specifically is how your business can leverage Pinterest, because there are some really exciting things that you're going to be able to do, many businesses will be able to do with Pinterest to help get more traffic and help get more exposure for their business. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I know, Pinterest is a pretty fresh topic here. It's a really quite a new site and new business. So many of you need greater clarity on, the basic question, what the heck is Pinterest? So let's start there first so that we're all on the same page here going forward. Now, the site's name gives a clue as to what it's all about. Pin plus interest. Pinterest is a combination of pin, as in pin boards, and interest, as in, what you're interested in, obviously. So once you sign up for Pinterest, you create your own virtual pin boards or categories where you can attach photos and images that fit within those categories, just as if you were pinning images that you took pictures from a camera or pictures that you ripped out of a magazine onto an actual pin board that you might have hanging in your office or in your home someplace. So Pinterest doesn't focus on the minutia of day-to-day living like Twitter and Facebook seem to. Instead, Pinterest encourages users to share their interests with others. And in this way, at least, Pinterest does more to encourage creativity among its users then do sites such as Google Plus or LinkedIn or Facebook, the other main social networks. So I hope that that gives you a bit of an understanding as to how Pinterest is different, and I think that you'll understand that even more here as we get through the course of this presentation. So social interaction is the heart of Pinterest. You can choose to follow people much like you would on Facebook or Twitter, but you can also choose only just to follow specific collections that you're interested in, so specific pin boards that you're interested in. So say your favorite cousin has a collection of old movie poster images that you find fascinating, but she also has a collection of images of her 3-year-old son that doesn't quite interest you as much. You can choose to follow her movie posters while ignoring the pin board about the toddler. Of course, you just don't want to tell her or any other family members about that, so you can avoid some family drama. But you get the point, right? You can, people who are on Pinterest, they create a variety of pin boards on topics that they find interesting. So it could be fashion, it could be food, or places they'd like to travel, or family pictures. You don't have to follow all of those. You can choose specifically what it is that you'd like to follow on that person's pin boards. So the next question then is, why are people so excited about Pinterest? And let's take a minute to address this, because Pinterest is growing incredibly fast. It's just taking off like a rocket. I mean, look at this growth from May of 2011 to December of 2011, and it's pretty remarkable. This company has reached over 10 million users in a very short period of time, and honestly, no one was expecting it. Even the big social media gurus, really at the beginning of Pinterest's takeoff here, really just were not that aware of how well it was going to do. It kind of caught everybody by surprise. And this slide explains why marketers and business owners love Pinterest. As you can see, the site is a major driver of website traffic. In fact, just in recent months, it's driven more traffic, more referral traffic to businesses than YouTube, Google Plus, and LinkedIn combined. So that's amazing, and that is really what's driving interest from a business perspective, is that there are so many people that are hopping on board on Pinterest. They're spending a ton of time, and they're driving a lot of traffic, and that's something that your business can take advantage of. Now, here's the other thing. Users love Pinterest. They can't get enough of it. And here's an image taken from a site that testifies the addictive nature of this site, right? If you're reading this, you're probably addicted to the internet. And by the internet, I mean Pinterest, right? And that is really becoming the case for a lot of people. I mean, they're just spending so much time on Pinterest compared to any other sites that it really is like Pinterest is becoming the internet for them. In fact, you look at these statistics, it's amazing. Time spent on these sites in January of 2012. Facebook, of course, is the granddaddy of all social media sites, and it's where people really spend just a tremendous amount of their time because of all of the connections to their friends and all the various things that you can do in Facebook, including playing games and things like that. But Pinterest has very quickly become the number 2 place where people are spending their time. And you look at it compared to some of these other major names that of Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, and Google Plus. Pinterest is just absolutely blowing them away in terms of the amount of time that people are spending on this site. So it really is incredible how engaged users are, which again speaks to the business power of Pinterest in terms of being able to engage with your audience there. Okay, so let's get into the details of what makes Pinterest unique and how it's different from the Facebooks and Twitters and Google Pluses out there. Here's a quote from copy blogger contributor Beth Hayden that I thought was both funny and illustrative. Pinterest is visually appealing, and that's what this quote gets to, right? Part of Pinterest's appeal is that it's beautiful. Because it's image-based, the core of Pinterest is overwhelmingly positive. I like to think of Pinterest as Facebook without the whining. That's pretty funny, and it's true. There is no whining on Pinterest. There's not, all of the conversation that goes along with, with Facebook, the kind of back and forth and people posting whatever comments they want to post. There's not as much of that. Most of what you're engaging in Pinterest is the visual imagery of the pictures that people are posting. All right, let's further explore here what gives Pinterest its unique flavor. Here's a brief list, it's just a sampling, of what kind of content gets shared or pinned and repinned on Pinterest. Do-it-yourself projects and hobbies. Businesses will present users with special offers and discounts. Retailers and other businesses will launch new products through Pinterest. Foodies in particular will share their favorite recipes and images of their culinary creations, and then you can see all kinds of other ideas here, just photography, animals, videos, infographics, holiday wish lists or birthday wish lists. There really is just a lot of categories that are being used on Pinterest, but these are some of the major ones that you'll see. Now, let's tackle one of the most important questions for you today. What kind of businesses are a good fit for Pinterest? Well, before I answer this question, let me just preface it by saying that most businesses tend to quickly come up with reasons why they shouldn't use social media. But the fact is, many sell themselves short and don't get involved because they don't think that they have a natural place in a particular network. Now, if you're running an accounting business, maybe Pinterest isn't the best fit. But then again, it's entirely possible that you could come up with something creative and be a trailblazer and use Pinterest to market your business and have great success. So don't just rule it out, right? The burden of proof should be on why you shouldn't engage when you've got this many rabid users of a product like this. So again, the burden of proof should be on why you shouldn't engage, not on why you should, because it's just too easy to just automatically say, oh yeah, that's not a fit for my business, and sell yourself short. Those reasons to stay on the sidelines are costing a lot of businesses a lot of money. All right, so hopefully I made my point there. Let's go ahead and move on. Generally, businesses that have photogenic products, of course, are the ones already using Pinterest and are the ones that are the most natural fit for the network. It's not surprising given that the network really is predicated on sharing photos and illustrations. So the following niches and industries are quickly adding Pinterest to their marketing mix. Restaurants and bakeries that have beautiful food products, clothing and accessories, spas, beauty and health related products, pets, real estate and lodging, right, where you can show the actual real estate, home decor and furnishings, travel and recreation, art and photography. These businesses really are taking off on Pinterest. Okay, but let's move on to how businesses are taking advantage of Pinterest, and I think that what you'll start to see here, hopefully, are some ideas that maybe spur some thoughts for you on how your business can take advantage of Pinterest, even if you didn't fit into one of those primary categories. All right, number one is to create pin boards for the types of products you sell and link them back to your website. So here's a great example of one from Whole Foods. As I mentioned earlier, Pinterest is great for driving traffic to other websites, right? So, in this case, Whole Foods is doing a great job of creating some categories that they know that their audience is going to be interested in. What's for dinner? Or who wants dinner? Eat your veggies. How does your garden grow? Sweet tooth. With desserts. These are all categories that I'm sure they know with their large customer base. They have an idea of what really is interesting to them. So these images then, once on Pinterest, are driving traffic back to the Whole Foods Market website. And that's what's key to really understand, is that's the power of this from a marketing perspective, is that you're driving people back to wherever these pictures came from, which ideally will be on your website. Now here is a good example of creating pin boards with themes like, things we love, or sale items or gift ideas. And this is from Nordstrom, the big department store. And so you can see, they've got holiday sparkle gifts, coats, beauty favorites, fun shoes, dresses we love, top trends. So again, they know their buyer. They're going after a particular buyer that's very interested in these categories, and they're posting the types of pictures that you would see probably in their high-end catalogs. But on Pinterest, it doesn't cost any money to post those pictures, and again, driving traffic back to their website. Now, you can also create boards that your customers will find useful, such as insider tips or top trends, right? So Etsy essentially is helping people find products that are in their marketplace. And if you're not familiar with Etsy, very cool site where people who are doing kind of their own crafts, making their own products, they can sell them on Etsy, and it's all low volume. Typically, people working from home, building these just small kind of micro businesses, and Etsy has created this big marketplace for them to sell stuff. So what Etsy has done is they've created some cool categories that will help people find interesting crafts that they may be interested in purchasing. So again, another cool way, another cool example of a company that is driving engagement in their community and also helping their customers sell more of their products and services. Another way to drive engagement through Pinterest is to hold contests in which your customers are actually rewarded for adding your products to their pin boards. So it's going to be a real nice way to get some viral traction, right? Say, hey, pin our image of such and such product on your pin board, and we'll enter you to win a contest for some sort of certain prize. So this way, you're really driving the viral nature of Pinterest to a whole nother level by giving people some sort of incentive to post that way. And as always, it's a good idea to cross-pollinate as much as possible. So you have different places for your content. You have Facebook, you have your blog, you have your website. So if you add a pin option to your blog or your website to allow easy sharing of your content, then of course the content is going to be shared much more frequently because you're just making it easier for people to do. So Pinterest has these little pin it buttons that you can get, and you can put them, it's just a little piece of code that you can put on, like I said, your website, your blog, pretty much anywhere that you're going to have content, so that you can make sure that you get your content shared as much as possible. All right. At this point, one of the most powerful ways to leverage Pinterest is to use it in an ancillary store catalog, right? So you can see here, perhaps the most powerful business application is the ability to post images of your company products on your Pinterest board and link them back to your website. It works as a sort of virtual store catalog. And it's not just a store catalog, though, that people have to consciously go to. Your products are being brought to them. They're being proactively shared with other people because people pass around these photos. It's such a viral nature to the site that your products and the related images actually get virally passed around at a huge rate if you do a good job of creating images that are interesting to people. So yeah, it is like this new virtual storefront, but the cool thing about it is it's a virtual storefront that's getting passed around to meet the people who are interested in the categories of products and services that you've listed your products in. You don't have to drive them to your storefront. So I hope people understand that distinction, because it's really, really, really critical that you understand the viral nature of this storefront in order to really appreciate and take advantage of Pinterest. All right, now let's go ahead and transition into some specific tips for getting started with Pinterest. Okay, so if I've got you sold on the idea that you should at least check this out for your business, which I hope I do, then let's talk about specific ideas on how to get started using the site. All right, first things first, some things to consider during the setup process. One, feature your business name and website URL in your profile. Okay, so that way, when people are engaging with your Pinterest site on Pinterest, they know where it's coming from. And again, for most businesses, the real win is if you would drive people to your website. So make sure that you've got your name and you've got your website there in your profile. Two, add a paragraph about who you are and your interests to the About section. It still is, this is a social platform. People want to know who they're engaging with, and the kind of personal side of your story or your business's story will really go a long way to engage people and create connections. And then three, be sure to connect your Pinterest account with your Facebook and Twitter accounts. Okay, social media is not, it's not little islands, right? You have these different social media platforms, and you want to make sure that they are working on your behalf and that you're leveraging them to get more traffic and more engagement across all of them. So make sure and connect to your Facebook and Twitter accounts. Super easy to do, and that's going to help you drive more interest to all of them due to their viral nature. All right, here are some specific pinning tips. This is pinning 101. All right, to make pinning easy and encourage consistent use, be sure to add the Pin It bookmarklet to your browser's bookmarks button. Okay, this is just essentially in your browser, whether that's Firefox or Chrome or Internet Explorer, you can put a little button up there that just allows you, when you're on a website that has some images that you like, you just hit that Pin It button, and it will make it super easy for you to pin the images from that site to your Pinterest pin boards. So just make sure you get that browser button. Super easy to use. And then, if you're doing this for business, budget time on a regular basis to pin, and make sure that you're doing it consistently, not just in brief spurts, to maximize your impact. Okay, you think of this as a marketing activity. It's not just goofing around. It's a marketing activity where you want to get exposure for your images out there with people. So set aside time to do it on a regular basis. And then lastly, take some time to come up with compelling pinboard names, and I would also add in compelling images, of course, right? Because it's the image that really does drive the interaction with people. But the compelling pinboard names is super important, because that's oftentimes how people are going to find your content in the first place. All right, so here are some additional pinning 101 tips. Include good descriptions with your pin images, and a good description will stay with the image as it gets repinned. So as other people are, repinning and passing along those images, the description goes along with it. So you want to make sure that you're putting a good description and that you're including some good keywords in there, so that again, people are going to have a better chance of finding and connecting with that content. Next, if the image is something from your own site, make sure and use your business name in the description. Okay, so again, ultimate objective, drive people back to your main business website. So go ahead and include that in there so that you can get that additional exposure. And then pin content from a variety of sources. Social networks don't like it if if really you're just promoting yourself real heavily. So it's always a good idea to look for a variety of sources that may be of interest to your audience and mix those in there, right? You want to sprinkle in other sources and other types of content, so it doesn't just seem like all you're doing is advertising to people. All right. Again, social networks, people don't want to feel like they're just being advertised to. I mean, obviously, it's a fact that in social networks you are now being advertised to very aggressively, but they don't want to feel that way. All right. So that's an important distinction. All right. So the most important takeaway from this is to get started, right? Get social, get out there and have some fun with this and experiment with it and learn about it. It really is a fun site. It's an addictive site, and it is one that if you engage in it, you will realize just very quickly how fast you can start getting an audience to your images. So get out there, get social, tag other Pinterest users in your pins, and let them know that you're following them and that you're recognizing them for their interesting pins, right? And the way you do that is by putting the @ symbol in their username in your descriptions. If you do that, it's going to notify them and it's going to notify other people that you're recognizing them and communicating with them in that social network. Mix in original pinning with repinning. And what I mean repinning is repeating someone else's pin to your followers. It's like a retweet on Twitter, right? So if I pin up something that's interesting and then you take it and pin it on your board, now your network sees it. You are repinning my content. Again, you want to mix that original pinning with repinning. So pinning your own content versus repinning others. It is, again, a social network. So you've got to make sure that you are engaging with other people, not just being self-serving and just kind of talking to yourself in your own universe there, right? Comment and like other people's pins. When you want to recognize great content and engage with other users, fast way to get an audience and get a community right is by demonstrating to them that you like what they're doing, and there's this reciprocity effect then where they feel like, okay, this is one of my people, let's engage with them as well. So you got to get out there, get social, and engage with people. All right, let's talk about specific pitfalls that you should strive to avoid with Pinterest, because there are some already, and there will be some more, as it develops a little bit more here. But first thing here, I think that this quote from Jason Falls from Entrepreneur.com, who we quoted earlier as well, is a good one. But remember that this is social media. If you simply display images of your products without contributing other content or sharing other users' pins, you'll likely find that people don't pay much attention. After all, no one likes a self-absorbed blowhard. And I hope that makes sense to everybody. Again, it's like if you show up at a party and instead of engaging in conversation with people and congratulating them on their successes and complimenting them on the things that you like about them, if you just stand in the middle of the room at that party and just talk about how great you are and talk about why people should pay attention to you, you can be sure that the people at the party are going to turn your back on you and probably walk out pretty soon, right? It's the same thing on the social networks, and it may not be as clear to you right from the start, but it becomes clear very fast that that's what happens if you do that. So engage with people, contribute other content, share others' pins, and you'll find that you're going to have much more success. All right, so instead of Whole Foods here, where if you look at this, the mistake that they're making is that Whole Foods is really just doing all Whole Foods stuff here, right? I mean, this is all Whole Foods related products. So instead, let's talk about a different option. Daniel Gordon here, who runs Samuel Gordon Jewelers in Oklahoma City, pins pictures of his rings and watches, but he also has a board for images that make him laugh and other types of products that he loves. So, he's not just showing his products, he's also just engaging with people at a much more human level and showing some personality, and also, just by sharing other people's content and products, he's getting that reciprocity effect. He's getting people to say, oh, wow, this guy isn't just promoting his stuff, he's actually promoting my stuff. He's sharing other content. He's got some stuff that's just funny and interesting. Again, by doing that, he's showing a much more human side, and he's engaging in the whole social side of the network, not just promoting himself. And that's incredibly important. Pinterest, I think, more than just about any other social network, it's an opportunity to show your human side and really connect with people on a person-to-person level, as opposed to the whole business-to-consumer level, right? You have an opportunity to really show some personality in Pinterest. Now, the most important takeaway that I can leave with you today is to get out there and get started, right? Have some fun with Pinterest. It truly is an addictive, fun site. When I first started goofing around with it, for 24 or 36 hours, I kind of was just like, all right, I'm going to find out what this thing's all about. I'm going to commit to spending a little time with it, even if I don't immediately see the benefit. And I tell you what, by the end of that week, I'm sitting there, laying in bed at night, And instead of falling asleep, I'm checking out a few more Pinterest pins and resharing things. It's just a fun site to be on. So you can quickly see why users and brands fall in love with Pinterest. It's addictive, it's enjoyable, it's not serious, it's just kind of a good time. And so that's why you're going to see that there's just this incredible flow of people to Pinterest that is happening at an accelerating pace every day. And again, you may not think that there's an obvious reason for your business to be there, but if all of the customers out there are spending time on Pinterest, you really do need to consider, what can I do to engage them there? Okay, rather than trying to pull them someplace else and market to them someplace else, how do I market to them where they're already at and where they're already engaging and have a good time? All right, and having a good time, right? Okay, so at this point, I'm going to open it up to questions. I want to thank you so much for joining me here on the presentation. And before I open it up to questions, I do just want to say, this is what we do for a living. We help people with social media strategies and other forms of marketing and technology strategies. So if you have questions, if it's not immediately obvious to you as to how you'd use Pinterest, we see all kinds of different examples every day, and more of them every day. We'd love to have a conversation with you and just share with you some of those ideas, and you never know what's going to come of it. Okay, so not a high pressure sales pitch, but if you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to see if there's some sort of way that we can help create some interesting ideas for you and your business. Or on the other hand, if you need some ideas or some strategies around just a greater overall social media, kind of web presence strategies, we'd love to help you with that as well. So, please feel free to get in touch. You'll see all of our contact information is around this presentation, and there's also a special offer button there. So if you like, go ahead and click on that and get in touch with us. So, please do. Again, not a high pressure sales pitch, but if you are interested in having a conversation about these topics, we'd love to. All right, let me go ahead and I'm just going to address a few questions here, and then we're going to let you get back to your busy day. All right, number one. See, I already have too much to keep up with between Facebook and Twitter and now Google+. Do we really need another social network? That's a great question, and at times I definitely know how you feel. Do we really need another social network? Probably not. I'm sure the world will keep spinning without one. However, I will say that Pinterest is proving incredibly popular for a reason. So it's obviously satisfying some sort of need or desire out there in the marketplace. And I think it's just because, like I said, it's just a very simple, fun way of sharing and engaging and making new connections. It's not too serious. It's not too hard to do. It's very just kind of fast and fun and engaging. So it may not be for everyone. It may not be for every business. But it's certainly worth paying enough attention to figure that out for yourself, right? Really give it a shot and think it through. And also, the way that I talked about making sure that you're actually connecting to Facebook and Twitter as well, you can really... you can cut a lot of time out of your kind of management of these various sites by connecting those different sites in a real strategic way. So just keep that in mind. Somebody asked, can I use Pinterest from my phone? Yes, definitely. That's my favorite way of actually, I don't go to the Pinterest site that often. It's usually just on my iPhone. So Pinterest has phone apps to make it easy to go to the Pinterest site, share pictures, and see other people's stuff. So I think that's actually the way that most people are using Pinterest. So yeah, definitely just go look in your app store for an app. It's free, and it's a fun way to kill some time. Question number 3, how do we get more friends or followers on Pinterest? Yeah, so from a marketing perspective, obviously, it's about getting enough of an audience to pay attention to you. Well, the good news is Pinterest is incredibly viral. I was shocked the first couple times I posted some images of some interesting food dishes that I had when I was out at a restaurant. I could not believe the number of people that all of a sudden shared that post, and now I have these connections to it. I mean, it was amazing. So it really does happen quickly. Pinterest also makes it easy for you to invite your friends from Facebook and Gmail and other accounts like that. So that's a really easy way to kind of kickstart things. Another big secret we talked about: title your Pinterest boards and your images using keywords. that you think your friends or followers will be looking for, right? That keyword strategy is really, really important. It makes it easier for those people to find you. And then, I think that the other thing that a lot of businesses will really want to start considering as they develop their Pinterest strategy is, how do you incorporate Pinterest into your offline world, into your normal physical world, right? So you may have, like, if you're a restaurant, you can have some little Pinterest table tents on your restaurant tables there. So when people sit and eat, you could say, hey, like your dish, share it on Pinterest, or something like that, or promote your contest that way. You could put Pinterest images like in your catalogs if you have those. So there's a lot of ways that you can start to really spread the word about your Pinterest presence and get more fans and followers. Okay, so I hope that helps. I hope you got a lot out of this presentation and a better understanding of Pinterest and how your business may be able to take advantage of it. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. There are still a few questions that we will make sure and address individually via either phone call or email. But I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. And again, if you'd like any assistance in formulating a strategy or plan of attack, for Pinterest or just social media in general, we'd love to help you out. So if that's the case, please do get in touch. We'd love to talk to you and bounce some ideas off of you and see what we might be able to work with. All right? Take care. Thanks again for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.